Hello students, welcome to all Scholar classes. So today I will be taking the second part of the chapter 4 from class 6 science, sorting material into groups. Okay. So we have seen some of the properties of material in my part 1. If you will go in the part 1 of my video, we have discussed about some properties there about material. We have seen about the appearance and hardness. Now we shall discuss some other properties of materials, soluble or insoluble. We will see that which materials are soluble and which materials are insoluble. In this we will be seeing the three categories: the solid materials that are soluble in water, the liquid materials that are soluble in water, and the gases that are soluble in water. Next we shall see the objects may float or sink. Some objects may float in water and some may sink. We shall be seeing that also. Next we will discuss on transparency. Transparency can be of three types: transparent, opaque or translucent. We will discuss all the three categories. Then we will see the properties of materials based on their electricity, on heat property, whether they are a good conductor of heat or bad conductor, electricity, good or bad. At the last, I will tell you why we need to group object, why grouping of material is done, why we need to group objects. Okay. So first property of material, soluble or insoluble. Let's start with it. So for this, first we will do an activity. In this we will collect some solid substances because we are going to see solubility or insolubility. Solid in water. Solids are soluble in water or not. Okay. So for this we are going to collect some substances that such as sugar, salt, chalk, powder we will be taking, sand and sawdust. What we have to do, we have to take 5 different glasses, or you can also take a beaker if you are having it. Now we have to fill each of them about 2/3 with a water. Okay, like this you have to take 5 glasses. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 glasses. What you have to do, fill up to 2/3 with water. Okay, so here is the water, and here is the water. Okay, so beaker 1, 2, 3, 4 and beaker 5. Okay, now what you have to do, secondly you have to add a small amounts of other substances in each of the beaker. Okay, so in the first beaker what we are going to add? We are going to add sugar. In the second beaker we will add salt. In the third beaker we will add chalk powder. In the fourth beaker we will be adding sand, and in the fifth beaker we will be adding sawdust. Okay, so like this we have mixed a solid substances, sugar, salt, chalk powder, sand and sawdust with water. Okay, so we have taken these substances a spoonful, 1 spoonful in 2/3 of the water. Now what we have to do next, we have to stir it well with a spoon. Okay, इसको बहुत अच्छे तरीके से मिलाना है, and we need to wait for few minutes. Okay, after stirring, stir and wait for few minutes. see what happens to the substance added to water. Now we will see what the results are going to take place. Okay, what are going to happen with the substances? With the water, we have mixed solid substances in the water. Fine. So now this sugar is going to disappear completely in water. Okay, it is going to disappear completely in water, means it is going to dissolve fully. Salt is also going to disappear completely, means it is going to dissolve in the water. It means that this sugar and salt, they are soluble in water. Okay, next comes the category of a chalk powder. It does not disappear in water. It means in the water you will be seeing the powder of a chalk. Similarly, in case of a sand, it again does not disappear in water. In the water you can see the particles of a sand. And the same case is going to happen with the sawdust, that it does not disappear in water. You will see the particles of the sawdust in a water. It may change the color of water because sawdust is of yellow color, so maybe the color of the water change, but it is not going to disappear. So we find that this 1 and 2, that is sugar and salt, they get disappeared in a water, means they are soluble in water. And these three, chalk powder, sand and sawdust, they are insoluble in water. Okay, so you can see that we have taken solids in all the cases, we have mixed it in water, but in some of the cases we found that it is soluble in water, in the other cases we found that it is insoluble in water. Okay, so now what we have to do, we notice that these substances that have completely disappeared, means they have dissolved in water. So these are called soluble in water. Okay, soluble in water means completely they have disappeared. Okay, completely disappeared. It means they have dissolved in water. Fine. In the second category, that is insoluble in water, we see that substances do not mix with water, and also they do not disappear even if you keep on stirring for a long time. So these substances are insoluble in water. Okay, and they do not disappear. Fine. So we have seen two categories. One is soluble in water and the other one is the insoluble in water. So the soluble in water, substances that completely disappear when dissolved in a liquid when dissolved in water are called soluble in water. Substances that do not mix water and does not disappear in water are called insoluble in water. Example you have seen: for soluble, sugar and salt; for insoluble, chalk powder, sand and sawdust. Okay, so we got to know that water plays an important role in the functioning of our body because it can dissolve a large number of substances. So water plays a very important role in our body. It dissolves so many large substances. Okay, so we have seen the mixing of solid in water. Mixing of solid in water. Similarly, now I will be telling you the mixing of different liquid materials in water. Okay. So now we will see mixing different liquids in water. What is going to happen when we mix different liquids in water? Mixing different liquids in water. Okay. Here again we are going to collect some samples for doing our experiment. So we will take sample of vinegar, lemon juice, mustard oil, coconut oil and kerosene. Okay. So we are going to take a glass tumbler again. Okay, 5 glass tumblers we are going to take. We will fill half with water. Half we are going to fill with water. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to add few spoons of liquid one by one in each of the tumbler. Okay. So first we will be adding vinegar. Okay, we can add 2 to 3 spoons in it. Okay, next we are going to add lemon juice. Okay, in the third one we will be adding mustard oil. Then we will add coconut oil. And in the last one, we are going to add kerosene oil. Okay? So total we have taken 5 tumblers. 1 for vinegar and water, 2 for lemon juice and water, 3 for mustard oil and water, 4 for coconut oil and water, and 5th one is kerosene oil and water. Now what we have to observe, we need to again stir it well and keep it for a few times and few minutes, and we have to observe that which liquid mixes with water and which does not mix. Okay, so what we are going to see, when we have put vinegar in the water, it mixes well. Okay, this lemon juice, it also mixes well. The third category is of mustard oil. Mustard oil does not mix. It keeps on floating on the surface of a water. Does not mix. Okay, same with the coconut oil. It does not mix. Again it does not mix. Kerosene oil does not mix. Okay. So mixing, we have seen that vinegar mixes, lemon juice mixes, coconut, kerosene and mustard oil does not mix it. So again we have got 2 categories of solubility in water as we have seen in case of liquids. Similarly in this case also we find that in this category, this is soluble in water, and in this category, they are insoluble in water. Okay, so mixing different liquids in water, we have seen that those liquids like vinegar and lemon juice, they are an example of soluble in water. Those liquid that does not mix like mustard oil, coconut oil, kerosene oil, they are the example of insoluble in water. If in exams you are asked, write few examples in which a solid is soluble in water and a liquid is soluble in water. Please check the question before writing. Sometimes instead of asking soluble in water, they ask solid soluble in water or liquid soluble in water. So you have to mention, if liquid is asked, this one you have to mention, in solid I have already told you. Okay. So like this we notice that some liquids completely mix up with water. Not only solids but some liquids also completely mix with water, and some other liquids do not mix with water and they form a separate layer, or they keep aside for some time. When we keep it aside for some time, they form a separate layer. In case of oil, you can see mustard oil, it forms a separate layer in a water. Okay. So water usually has a small quantity of some liquids that dissolves. Okay. So we have seen for mixing of different solid and liquid. Now the question is, does some gases also dissolves in liquid? Okay. So the answer is yes. Some gases are soluble in water, whereas others do not. Okay. So there are very little gases that are soluble in water. Okay, so let's see the gases that are soluble in water. So water usually has a small quantity of gases that get soluble in it. Okay, so example, you can take oxygen. Okay, oxygen is a gas which gets dissolved in water. Okay, if a question is asked for a gas that gets dissolved in the water, oxygen is a gas that gets dissolved in the water. Water is very important because it is very important for the survival of animals and plants. We live in water. Okay, so we have seen all the three different categories: solids in water, liquids in water, and gases in water. So this was about the properties of materials that are soluble and insoluble in water. Okay, so next we will be taking next we will see that objects may float or they may sink in water. Okay, some objects they float in water, and some objects when you put it in a water they get at the bottom, they get down to the bottom. So there are some objects or some materials which sink in the bottom of the surface of a water. Okay, when you put it, they go on the bottom of the surface of the water, and some floats on the surface of water. So this objects floating and sinking can be defined by two categories. Okay, so one is the buoyancy of a material, okay, and the other one is its density. Okay, so the first thing, what is buoyancy? So the upward force applied by the fluid to the object or the body when an object is put or submerged into a fluid is termed as buoyancy. Okay, so a buoyancy force, a upward force is being applied by the fluid to the object which has been put into a water, that is called as buoyancy. Okay, so what is buoyancy? The upward force. Okay, suppose this is a pond. In this pond you put some stone you put. Okay, so when you put a stone, this water is going to apply a upward force to this stone or any other object. If it is able to apply that upward force, it is going to apply on this stone. Okay, so the upward force applied by the fluid okay, on the object, ठीक है, फ्लूइड फोर्स लगाएगा ऑब्जेक्ट पे, किस ऑब्जेक्ट पे? जिसको हमने सबमर्ज किया, ऑन द ऑब्जेक्ट that has been submerged, in water. Okay, submerged in fluid or any other water is termed as buoyancy. buoyancy. Okay, so on this, the upward force applied by the fluid on the object that has been submerged in fluid is termed as buoyancy. Okay, so classification based on buoyancy, materials can be classified as sinking or floating on water based on buoyancy. Okay, so now if suppose let's take an example. In a pond, if you throw a dried leaf, what is going to happen? The dried leaves will will float on the surface of water. Now if you throw a stone in the pond water, that stone is going to sink in the water. Okay, so you can see that one is floating and the other is sinking in the same pond. Okay, so dried leaves, or you put a balloon in pond water, so they are going to float. And if you put a stone or a coin in a pond water, so that is going to sink. Okay, so this was about on the basis of buoyancy, sinking and floating of an object. Okay, next we will see on density. What happens? Density is what? Density is defined as mass per volume. What is density? Density is defined as mass per volume. Okay, so density is also one of the reason that whether an object is going to sink or it is going to float on the surface. Okay, so suppose anything is thrown in water, if the density of that object is high than the water, it is going to sink, and if it has a density lower than the water, it is going to float on a water. Okay, so on this basis, on the basis of buoyancy, on the basis of density, objects can float or objects can sink. Fine? Next category comes of transparency. Okay, transparency. Okay, so now what is this? Material can be grouped into three main categories based on their ability to transmit light. What is transparency? Transmission of light. Based on transmission of light, it can be grouped into three categories. Okay, so transparent, opaque and translucent. Three. So first we will see transparent objects. Okay, so an object which allows visible light to pass through it is called transparent object. Transparent object allows visible light to pass through it fully. Okay, so those substances or material through which things can be seen clearly are transparent. Okay, example is a glass. You can see clearly from a glass. Okay, if you go in a fish tank, you can see clearly the fishes. In fact, water also, if you put a point in a water and you look at it, you can see that point. Okay, air is there, some plastics are also transparent. So transparent objects are those objects which allows visible light to pass through it. And the second thing is that materials or objects are clearly visible through it. Okay, those substances or material through which we can see clearly. Materials through which we can see clearly. Okay, example if we take, example is water, fish tank, glass, some plastics are also transparent. Okay, so if you go in a shop, you see that shopkeepers usually keep transparent jar of plastic or of a glass in which they prefer to keep biscuits, toffees, sweets, some eatables. Why they keep it in a transparent container of a glass or a plastics? So that the buyers easily can see what is inside. Okay, just to attract their customers. Okay, so the best example you can see at any shop that these shopkeepers, they keep transparent jars or transparent plastic jars or glass jars. Okay. So the next category is the opaque object. So what is an opaque object? Is an object which does not allow passage of light. Okay, it does not allow light to pass through it. Okay, and if some material through which we are not able to see, they are opaque. So what are opaque object? Does not allow light to pass. And we cannot see through opaque object. Okay. Now if we see example, if you see a cardboard, take a cardboard, can you guess what is inside a carton without opening it? No, you can't guess what is inside it because you can't see inside the carton. Or some metal container is there, you can't see what is inside that container. Okay, so the examples are wood is there. Okay, some cardboards are there, metal. Okay, these are opaque objects because we cannot see at all through these objects. Okay, next is a translucent object. Okay, translucent object. So we have seen that in one object, that is a transparent object, we are able to see very clearly. The other is an opaque object in which we are not able to see at all. Translucent object is in between the transparent and opaque. It means some partial light passes through a translucent object and the material can be seen but not clearly. Okay, so what happens? Light passes but a partial passage of light. Partial passage of light. Okay, next is that we can see through it but not clearly. We can see through it but not clearly. Okay, so if we talk about the example, there are some plastic bottles. You can see through the plastic bottle but not clearly. Some paper cups, butter paper. Okay, so example is plastic cups, butter paper. Okay, like this. So we have seen that on the basis of transparency, that is on the basis of transmission of light, we can divide object as transparent, opaque and translucent. Transparent allows visible light to pass through it fully. Materials which can be seen clearly. Example is the water, glass, etc. Opaque does not allow light to pass through it at all. We cannot see through opaque object. Example is wood, cardboard, metals. Translucent object, partial passage of light. We can see through it but not very clearly. Okay. So for translucent objects, you can do an activity in which you can take a sheet of paper, look through it towards the light. Now you can put 2 to 3 drops of oil spread on the sheet of paper. Look again towards the lighted bulb through the portion of the paper on it. What you are going to see? You are going to see, you find there is a visibility in it. Before was not very clear, but now also you can see, but not as clear as they are visible. Okay, so they are not clearly visible. So these are transparent objects. So we have seen transparency. On the basis of transparency, we have categorized in 3 categories the objects. So next we will see on the basis of electricity, the properties of material on the basis of electricity. Okay, so there can be 2 categories. One is the good conductor and the other is a bad conductor. So good conductor is the one through which the electricity can pass through it. Bad one is the one through which electricity can't pass through it. Okay, so good conductor, electricity can pass through it. In case of bad conductor, electricity cannot pass through it. Okay, now let's take the example. Good conductor, metals are good conductor, bad conductors, non-metals are bad conductors. Okay, so in materials, metals are a good conductor and non-metals are bad conductor. Metals, and here the example is non-metals. Okay, so on the basis of electricity, you can see here that good conductor is there, bad conductor. Good conductor is the one through which electricity can pass. Example is metals. Bad conductor is the one through which electricity cannot pass, and the example is non-metal. Similarly, we can take for heat also. Okay, heat is also good conductor and bad conductor. On the basis of heat, one property can be heat. So here also 2 categories, good conductor and bad conductor. So metals are a good conductor of heat and non-metals are a bad conductor of heat. Okay. So like this we have seen so many examples here. Okay, so we have seen lots of properties of materials. Okay, some solids are soluble, some are not. They may float or sink in water. They may be transparent, opaque or translucent. Okay, so these all categories that heat may pass or not, electricity may pass or not. They can be a good conductor of heat or electricity, or they can be a bad conductor of electricity. So on this basis, material can be grouped into the basis of similarities or differences in their properties. Okay, so these materials, they can be grouped on the basis of their similarities. Okay, their similarities and differences. Okay, so we have seen lots of property. Now the question is that why there is a need of grouping, why we need to group object, what is the need of grouping an object. Okay, why we need to group objects. We have seen lots of properties of materials. Now what we see, why we need to group objects. Convenience to store. Okay, we often group objects in order to store similar objects together and the dissimilar one together. Okay, in order to make locating them easier in future. Okay, if you have grouped similar objects together, it will be easy to locate in future. You can find it very easily in future. Even in our homes, we store spices together in a kitchen, while other washing products are in the bathroom like this. In the class, you can see that in the school, you can see different classes are there. Why these classes have been divided? Why can't everybody study together? No, it will be very messy if everybody is going to study together. So that's why on the basis of ages, different classes have made, so that in one class there are mentally equally people are there of similar age. Okay, in other class equal age students are there, because it will be very convenient to teach the students who are of the same group. If some are smaller, some are bigger in age, it will be difficult to teach them. Okay, similarly, grouping is done everywhere. Okay, so the first benefit is that convenience to store. Okay, it is very convenient to store anything if you have grouped it in different groups. Okay, similar objects if you have placed in one group and you have put different other objects in one group. So convenience to store. The second very benefit is convenience to study. For this, I will be taking an example of library. If you go in your school library, does all the books are mismatched? No. The English section is different, the history section is different, the story book sections are different. Okay, there are sections for different books. Why? Because it makes it easy to study. Okay, if it was like these story books, English book, history, math, all are compiled together, it would be difficult. Okay, so convenience to study. Okay, so we also group objects so that it becomes easy for us to study their features as well as the patterns of their features. Okay, so this was all for today. This was here I complete my part 2, and in fact I have completed the 4th chapter here, sorting materials into different groups. We have seen that how there are different materials can be classified. Okay, similar properties and some dissimilar properties. We have read a lot about it, and why grouping is needed. I hope this must be very clear to you. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching my video, and if you like my video, please give a like button. If you have not subscribed our channel Oli Scholar yet, please do subscribe it, because we upload videos daily. So for getting updated, you need to subscribe it. And if you can also go in Google Play, there Oli Scholar has got its app. You can download our app with the name CSCS e-learning, and there you will find interesting videos. MCQ questions are also there, and so many PDF notes are also there. And if you are interested for live classes, we conduct that also. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching my video.